As a designer, there are occasions where you may be required to create a promotional page. So in this video, I'm going to show you step by step how I managed to create this promotional page in Divi. All right, so let's get started. So let's start off by creating a brand new page. So I'm going to come over here to pages and then click on add new. So we're just going to call this page promo. Click on use Divi builder and then use visual builder. Okay, so I'm going to start off with this single row. So I'm going to click this plus button here to add a single column. And then I'm going to search for my text module and select it. Right, so in this text module, my text is going to be mega sale. But of course, you can use any text to replace this. Next, I'm going to come over here to my design tab. And then I'm going to click on text. Make sure that my text is centered. And then I'm going to change my text font to Montserrat. Right, so we really want this big. So what we're going to do first is we're going to change our font weight to heavy, and then we're going to increase the size all the way to 100. Okay, so now that we have that in place, that's looking great. I'm going to come over here to my text color and I'm going to make sure that I use the color which is on my palette. And then let's scroll down over here and also add some letter spacing. So I'm just going to increase that to about 6. Okay, so next we're going to add a text shadow. So over here, I'm going to choose this last option right here, then select it. So now we can see that we have our text shadow. However, we're going to do a few adjustments to it. So over here, I'm just going to move my vertical length over to the left like that. Okay, to about a 0.7. Then I'm going to do the same here on the horizontal one. Okay, and then over here on the bottom for our text shadow color, I'm just going to click here and then select my color. And then over here, I'm just going to drag the slider just to make sure there's no transparency in that. Okay, so that seems fine now. The last thing we need to do here is to just make sure that it looks nice on different devices. So we are going to change the size here by clicking this little icon. And then we're going to test this on the tablet. So we can see here that on the tablet, it doesn't really look nice. So what we may want to do is to increase the line height. But not only that, we may also need to decrease the size. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to decrease the size to about, say, 58. And then reduce the letter spacing like that to about 6. And then I'm also going to check the smartphone. So that seems fine, but we also need everything on the same line. So we're going to do the same here and leave it at about 36. So that's looking fine now. So the tablets, and that's the desktop. Okay, brilliant. So we're going to go ahead now and save. And then we also need to add another row. So I'm going to click this plus button here. But this time we're going to need 2 columns. So in our first column, I'm going to add an image module. I'm going to select it. And then I'm going to upload my image. So here I already have my image in my media library. So all I'm going to do is to select it and then click upload an image. So for now, I'm going to leave it as it is. I'm going to go ahead now and save. And then I'm going to go into my row settings. Click on design. So what we're going to do here is we're going to change the size of this row. So I'm going to click on sizing and then I'm going to come over here to use custom width and we're going to set this to 80%. Okay, so now you can see as soon as I've selected 80%, the size has increased. Okay, so that's looking great. I can go ahead now and save. So over here, we're going to add a text module. So I'm going to click this plus button here, select my text module. So the text that's going to go in here is just going to be winter sale now on. But in your case, you can add, whatever text you need to add in there. So I'm just going to save this for now, and then I'm going to duplicate it because we're going to need another one similar to this on the bottom. Okay, so now I'm going to go back into the top one, and then we're going to make some further customizations. So I'm going to click on design, click on text. So here we're going to change our color. So we're going to come over here to text color, and we're going to choose this pink. Next, we're going to come over here to our text size. We're going to increase that, not too much though. And then we're also going to add some letter spacing, and then we're going to center this. Okay, so that's looking great. And then finally, we're just going to make this text light. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and save. And then we're going to go on the next one here, which is our text module on the bottom. Click the gear icon, go into design, and then for now, we're just going to center it. And then we're just going to rename it and just call it hurry. Like that. Click on the design tab and also increase the letter spacing. But not too much though on this one. So 3 is going to work fine. And then we're going to save. Now it's time to add the background color. So I'm going to come over here to my row settings, click on background, and then we're going to come over here on column 2 background and click this plus button. So we're going to select our color like that. So as you can see, we're going to need to do some work here on the padding. So let's go over here to our design tab and then click on spacing. So all the work that we need to do is going to be in our column 2 padding. So let's start off with the top. So we're going to add, let's say 10%. Okay, so we can see that's a bit too much. So what you may need to do is to just play around with these numbers here until you find something that's suitable. So I'm going to leave mine at 5% for now and then make further adjustments as we're designing this. Okay, so for now we're going to save. So what I've just noticed here is my text here at the bottom is not visible. That's because it's black. So let's go ahead and change that. So I'm going to click this gear icon here. And then I'm going to come over here to design, click on text, and then I'm going to change this from dark to light. So now it's visible, we can see it. So what we're going to do next is to add some negative margins to move our right column all the way over to the left. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to come over here to my row settings, click on advanced, custom CSS. So what we need to move over is the column 2 main element. So I'm going to paste the CSS code and then straight away you can see that now it's moved all the way to the left. Okay, let's go ahead and save for now. Okay, so next we're going to add our video module. So let's click this plus button and add our video. I'm going to click on video and this is where we get to add our URL. So I'm just going to add one of my old videos, come over here to overlay, and then I'm going to add my image for my overlay. So this image was already prepared in Photoshop. So I recommend that you go into Photoshop first, prepare your image, and then use that image as an overlay. So right now it's selected. I'm going to click upload an image. Okay, so now that's looking good and everything is in place. So if you like, you can leave it as it is, but I prefer to have some breathing space around my video. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to come over here to design, and then I'm going to click on spacing. So here on the right, I'm going to add 8% margin, and we're going to do the same to the left like that. So now we can see we have enough breathing space, which is really, really cool. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and save. Okay, so what we're going to do next is to add some negative margin to this image. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to click this gear icon here to enter the settings, click the advanced tab, custom CSS, and we're going to place our code in here. So this negative margin has allowed us to move this image slightly above. But we can see now we have a slight problem because this title here, mega sale, now is very close to the image. So let's go ahead and fix that. Right, so what we're going to do here in the main element, we're going to add the CSS code to add the padding to the bottom. So right now I've entered 10%, so we can play around with this and adjust it until you're happy with the look. So right now my margin bottom is at 6%, which looks really nice. So I'm going to go ahead now and save. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. So what I'm going to do next is to add my button, my call to action button. So I'm going to come over here, click this plus button to add a new row, and we're going to have this last option here as my columns. So I'm going to close this for now, and then I'm going to go into the middle one, and we're going to add our button module. So I'm going to select it. So for our button text, I'm just going to say start shopping. Okay, for the link, I'm just going to add a blank link for now. And then we're going to come over here to our design and make some adjustments. So first of all, we want this button centered. So I'm going to center it. And then next, I'm going to come over here to button and then click on use custom styles for button. So this allows us to go and further customize this button. So let's increase our text size to about say 30 because we really want this call to action button to be nice and big. So our text color is going to be white. So I know now it's disappeared, but we're gonna fix that in a little bit. So to fix that, we're gonna come over here to our button background color, click this plus button, and we are going to make this button red. And then over here for our button border radius, we're gonna just reduce that to 0 because we don't need that. And then for our letter spacing, I'm just going to increase it to about, say, 4. And then for our fonts, we're going to change this to Montserrat. And then we're going to change the font weight from regular to, say, medium. Right, show icon, we don't need the icon, so we're just going to leave it as it is. So you can see here it slightly expands when I mouse over it. So I'm pretty much happy with that as the animation. Okay, so that's looking good. I'm now going to go ahead and save. Finally, we're going to add one more row with a single column. And in that column, we're going to have a text module. So this is where our copyright information is going to go. So I'm just going to type over here, copyright 2018. Right, but you can add whatever you need in the copyright, on the copyright. So also make sure that it's centered. So I'm going to come over here to design, click on text, and then we're just going to come all the way down here for our text orientation and then center it. So what you may want to do as well is to reduce the size. So 14 is going to be okay. And I think I might need some letter spacing here as well. So I'm just going to increase it to about 2. And I'm going to change my font as well, like that. In fact, I'm going to change this to 1. Okay, so that's looking really, really good. So I'm going to go ahead now and save. So straight away, I can see here that below this word hurry, there's a lot of space. So I'd like to reduce this a little bit. So let's go ahead and fix that. So I'm going to come over here and click on my module settings, design, spacing, and for our margin bottom, I'm going to set it to 0. And I'm going to do the same for padding. And then I'm going to save. So as I'm looking at this, I can see that this sail now on does not really look prominent. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and make it slightly bigger. So I'm going to click this module settings, click on design, heading, text, and then we're going to increase it like that. So I think, in fact, it may be fine as light. Let me leave it like that. Okay, so that's looking good. I'm going to go ahead now and save. Now, to really make this design come to life, what we're going to need to do is to add an image that's going to go in the background, because right now it's too plain. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to click over here on my section settings, click on background, and then I'm going to come over here to my third tab and add my image. So I'm going to click this plus button here. Now I already have my image. I'm going to click upload an image. So right now you can see that is overpowering. So what you want to do is to come over here to our first tab to add our background color. So I'm going to click this plus button and I'm going to add white as my background color. And then back over here to my image, what we're going to do is we're going to use an image blend. So the blend we're going to use is lighten. So when I select it, you can see straight away everything goes back to white. But what you need to do now is to come over here to our background and then adjust this transparency. So you can see here as I start to dial it down, we can now start to see the background. So what you want to do, you want to have it subtle enough to see something, but not too much that it's overpowering. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at that. Okay, so that's looking good. I'm going to go ahead now and save. So to finalize this design, you can see there's a heading and also there's a footer. So ideally, you don't want to have footers and headings on these promo pages because they're just a distraction. So we can see here we have it on the top and we also have a footer on the bottom. So let's fix that. So before we navigate away from this page, we need to save it. So I'm going to save this page first, and then I'm going to come over here and click on edit page. Right, so what you want to do to get rid of the header and the footer is to come over here to our template and select the blank template. Click update. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and view the page. Looking good, but I can see that there's a few problems. We need some more breathing space right here at the top. So let's go ahead and fix that. So I'm going to go into my visual builder and then I'm just going to add some padding on the top. So maybe 154 will do. And then I'm going to save that. Okay, so that's our final design. Thank you very much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe, because by subscribing, you'll be notified every time I release new videos. Thank you all for watching, and see you in the next one.